Well, we're here at the Prescott Historique 2025. It's a wonderful weekend that takes us back to the earlier days, the earlier decades of speed hill climbing here. First event at Prescott back in 1938, and it's still much the same, that beautiful grassroots arena for motorsport in the orchard, in the Cotswolds. What could be better? The mix of cars is incredible, the number of drivers coming back to the venue is also brilliant. I've not been here for 25 years, but it's just like yesterday. The memories come flooding back, and there's something for everybody. Single-seaters, sports cars, saloon cars, all here at the Prescott Historique.
Chris with Derek Drinkwater. Now here's a lovely story. This is maybe not the most beautiful car you've ever seen.
No.
It's known to all and sundry as the Monstre, the Monstre.
Yes.
And that was the French who first called it that. And the story is that Briggs Cunningham produced two cars to race at Le Mans.
Yep.
Saloons.
Yep.
Cadillac saloons. And found that they were too heavy.
Yeah.
So what did Briggs do?
Well, what he'd basically done, the two Cadillacs were short wheelbase that they built in that year. So they were the shortest Cadillacs, both manuals, 3 on the tree. So he took one Caddy, upgraded the suspension with truck suspension. When I say upgrade, it was just bigger springs, that's about it. Then he took the other car, which is a stock Caddy, and then rebodied it. So the rebody was a little bit when it went to France. So this it's been rebodied, it's got 5 carburetors, but otherwise underneath is all genuine Cadillac. And when it went to Le Mans in 1950, the French were like, you can't do this, you can't do this. But it wasn't in the rule books. So he did it, and they nicknamed it the Monstre. The
Monstre. And it's not the most beautiful car, but it's light enough, isn't it?
It's about 250, 300 kilos lighter than the stock Caddy.
Yes.
It was designed by a company called Grumman, which were aircraft company.
Grumman, yeah.
Has a little bit of a plain look if you squint. And the boys that helped build it, the workers, were into boats. So they did boat tail stuff. So that's how we come to this. So it's basically been built and designed by aircraft people and boat people. But they knew the car would only do about 130 mile an hour top speed. So when it went in a wind tunnel, because it was the first car to go in a wind tunnel in America. Over here, I'm not sure about. So they designed it round about 130 mile an hour. So this is the concept they've got, which 125, it goes a little bit light at Le Mans, and you're on the steering.
It begins to lift at the front.
It lifts a little bit, so it works. It works.
Yeah. You mentioned 3 on a tree. How many people know what 3 on a tree is?
Not that many.
No, we better explain.
But there was a little thing in America when we were racing, and I'll go about that. So 3 on the 3, it's got a LaSalle transmission, and it's old school gearbox. So the gear changes on the column, so you have to change
1, 2, 3,
and then reverses, pull them back. But when we were racing at Laguna Seca, the marshal come up to me and he said, why are you waving to me as you go underneath the stand? And I sort of thought about it. I said, I'm changing gear. And he's just, so I waved to him every time then afterwards. It was fabulous.
And the Americans appreciated it. They love to see it.
They love it. They love the idea that we've got a car that's got drum brakes. It's all as it should be.
Yep.
And we've made a tow bar, and we took a teardrop trailer and drove it across America. And
you drove this?
Drove that.
With a tow bar?
With a tow bar, with a teardrop. We did 4,000 miles. We then raced at Laguna Seca, and then we came home, went back again, and then went to Road America and raced it. I spun a bearing in the last race. So we built the engine in the paddock. They allowed me to stay there. Then we drove to Canada, and then we raced it at Watkins Glen.
Fantastic.
It's 5.4
litres
with 160 brake horse. It has 5 carburetors. They took Cunningham, gave an order to and asked Holly to take the stock manifold, so it has a single carb in the centre, and then Holly put 4 carbs on the outside, so the centre one runs on the fuel pump, and the secondaries run on an electric pump. So that way, if he broke down, he could still carry on at Le Mans.
So the 4 they're delivering to any old cylinder at random.
Yep.
Amazing.
So basically,
it works.
It works, and I think the Allard also, a couple of Allards had that afterwards.
Where did that idea come from? Did it come from the States?
He was, in his day, he was quite something, because I think without his engineering, and racing may not be quite what it seems today, because we believe this is, like I say, this is the first car that went in a wind tunnel, definitely in America. It was the first race car to have overhead valve V8, and it was the first race car to have two-way radio. So it's quite something.
Do the original Monsters ever get pulled out and used?
Only for parade laps. They literally only do parade laps.
So it'd be good for them to see one having a real go.
It's when we raced Le Mans and then we took it to America, the originals never raced. Both cars only raced once. So by us racing this, it carries on the history of the car. So
absolutely.
By racing all the different tracks, even a fabulous track here, the hill climb, it's a first. So it's really, we're really
Did
lucky.
you have a bit of a difficulty getting it round, pardon hairpin?
Yes, I think I dropped off the bank on the first run.
Yeah.
It's a bit slippery. Second run I did a little stop, but there's no steering. Or when I say there's no steering, I can't turn tight enough.
Yeah.
So I have to use the torque a little bit to get round.
To boot it round.
And then and I've only got obviously 3 speed, and I've never used first gear for racing. So and I'm in first gear here, it's like, oh, we're not too sure about that.
Is it difficult to get it into first?
You cannot get into first unless you're stationary.
Oh,
so
right.
if you go from third to second to first, you have to stop.
Yeah.
So it's a stop and start game.
But if you pop it into second, you can still power it out of...
Yes, yeah. At Le Mans, we actually had our fastest lap in third gear because it takes so long to change from second to third and to try to scrub the speed and then change it into gear.
Stay in third.
Yeah.
Derek, fantastic. It's a lovely story. It's an amazing device.
Thank you.
It'll be a privilege to see it going up the hill this afternoon.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for bringing it.
No, thank you for inviting us. We've had a wonderful time. Thank you.
Good.
Okay, well I'm here in the paddock at Prescott with Tony Ward here, who's got this fabulous 1972 BMW 2002 TII proper car. It's done as a tribute to the cars that raced in Group 2 back in the period, so they were pretty modified cars but based on the production machines. And what was your inspiration behind getting this, Tony?
I think just the whole 70s saloon, really, you know, giving me age, big nostalgia trip, really. So it wasn't particularly had to be a BMW, but it's always a nice shape, very clean, like the shark nose front on it.
And it's different, isn't it?
Yeah, and it gets under your skin, and it's a bit different than an Escort, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So how long have you had the car?
I've had the car since about 2010. Spent about 3 years building it. Got to give a shout out to Richard Shaw and Vic at Loranca Engineering. Constant source of knowledge.
Oh, they're total gurus, aren't they?
Excellent engineers.
Yeah.
So yeah, without them it would have been very difficult to do.
For sure. So you presented it like an Alpina car,
Yeah.
the Boven Seepen tuning company.
That's it, like an Alpina Works car of the 70s. Really.
Yes. So the engine is an M10.
M10, quite highly developed. Again, very much using Loranca's knowledge and build capabilities on that. Weirdly, it's a TII, which running on carbs.
Yep.
As a lot of them did. and it's well the other side of 200 brake horsepower.
200 horsepower. And what does it
Well
weigh?
above that, 870.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not particularly heavy as
No,
touring cars go.
No, it's quite exciting.
Yeah. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it
It's
is.
me that's the weak link.
But you've not driven it for a lot of
No, about
years.
4 years I haven't driven it for.
So it's kind of you're kind of back on the scene. You're
Yeah.
enjoying it again.
That's
and
it, yeah.
Big smile on your face, and that's
Yeah.
what these things do.
100%. And like when you're here, you know, it's like a noisy garden fete, isn't it? You know what I mean? That's,
Sums it up so beautifully. This is the M10 engine, which originated as a kind of a 1500 type engine, and then in later years became the basis for the amazing turbocharged 1500 engines that Brabham ran in Formula One with the likes of Nelson Piquet and Mark Seurer. So the engines themselves are very, very strong, but it's a 4-cylinder. It's running on these big Weber carburetors.
yeah, 48 carbs. It's tubular manifold. Quite interesting. It's very difficult to get a equal length tubular manifold when you've still got the steering on the right, because it's still got a steering box. It's not converted to a rack. So there's quite a lot of development in that, really, and a lot of head scratching. But
And it drives through the Getrag box.
Getrag 265 dog leg first, through a Bailey Morris prop shaft, and then into limited slip diff. Again, that's Laranca's sort of know-how, really.
Yes, and all the suspension is adjustable.
Yeah, fully coil-over adjustable suspension, fully bushed. You know, you wouldn't want to go to the shops in it.
No, you've got another car for that. That's absolutely fine. But and it's bringing back all the old memories, all the juices are flowing again.
It's a very organic feeling car. You know, there is no assistance. You haven't even got a brake servo or anything. So it's like I say, steering box. You're very much steering it on the throttle, and it's a lot of fun.
Great
and it's
stuff.
surprisingly quick as well.
Yeah. Absolutely brilliant. Well, best of luck with it. It's
Thank
been
you very much.
a joy to see you in the car here at Prescott, and have a great day.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Cheers.
Chris and Mark Davis. Mark, this is a fantastic Formula 5000 McLaren with a history. I mean, some of the 5000s have got no history at all.
No.
This one's got most of it. Who was the first driver and owner of it?
That was Mike Walker.
Right.
Mike Walker drove the car in the opening round of the 1970 Formula 5000 Championship, and throughout that season. And interestingly, then at Monza, beating the McLaren Works entry, which made the car sort of quite significant early on.
Did he go on to have he didn't go on to have much of a motor racing career, did he?
No, not that I'm aware of. I mean, he's still driving now, I think.
Is he?
Well, he was, yeah. No, Mike was a good driver, you know, as I say, to beat the
Yes.
to beat the Works McLaren entry at Monza.
So now it's your car and you drive it.
Yes.
Well, you can't do better than that, can you?
No, we enjoy it. Yeah.
How long have you had it?
A couple of years now.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
And what did you drive before?
Various machinery, Brabhams, Lister Jaguars.
So this wasn't so much of a leap upwards in power.
It's all sort of on the same level. There's an interest in historic racing cars since I was quite young, so Prescott's not ideal for it. Although this car was sold shortly afterwards to Roy Lane.
That's right.
And Roy campaigned the car in '71, I believe.
Did well.
Did very well.
He
I
did.
think broke records here and at Shelsley Walsh. Different gearbox. He had the LG gearbox then. It's now got the lighter DG 300 gearbox, but effectively the same car. He had it a slightly darker orange. Originally the car was green when Mike Walker drove it.
Right.
We thought we'd go back to the orange scheme, but just more to sort of show off the name McLaren, rather than just the colours that Roy Lane had.
One of the highlights of the Prescott Historique Weekend 2025 was the presence of the amazing Cooper Jap V twin that David Boisher-Jones drove to 3 successive British Hill Climb Championships in 1958, 1959 and 1960. It's here with Charles Reynolds, a motorsport professional for decades, and he's just finished a long restoration. He's had the car a couple of years. But what is significant about the car, not only its championship winning history, is its Prescott history, which has been absolutely amazing. David Boisher-Jones, a young guy when he had the car to start with, from Newport in South Wales. He won 21 British Hill Climb rounds across the 3 seasons that he competed at the top line. Prior to that, with the car with the 500cc engine, he finished 4th in the National Formula 3 Championship behind Jim Russell, Ivor Bueb, who ended up winning Le Mans 24 Hours twice, and Stuart Lewis-Evans. But in the 1100cc Jap V twin specification that we've seen here, the really successful hill climb spec, he was pretty much invincible here at Prescott. He ended up with the ultimate short course record in 59 into the start of 60. He held that record, and in 1960 he set BTD at the first meeting on the new lengthened circuit, which was the 5th of June in 1960, and he also won the national championship round at the end of the year, the first national championship round on that longer course, setting a new record. He set records in a lot of the events he went to, and to see the car back here, the first time it's been in action in decades, was absolutely spectacular. I'm here with Dave Hampton, who set best time of the day yesterday in this absolutely fabulous Lotus 5969. It's a superb car. We've had it about 15 years, and really interesting that it has a great history with Peter Wardle and then Gary Ainscough in South Africa.
Exactly.
Where did you find the car?
I found the car through Paul Matty, who is a well-known Lotus aficionado. Previously owner of his own garage, of course, and he's now sold that. But Paul is still mad about Lotus cars. And he found the car and said, "That's the car for you." So
yeah,
here we are.
And that just breeds enthusiasm for Lotus and hill climbing, and the championship is just brilliant. You've been involved with it for a bunch of years now.
Yes, yeah. How many years? Must be more than 20 years, I would say.
Right,
So,
and you started with another car and then graduated to this?
I started with a Lotus Elan that I bought off Harry Metcalf, who you probably
Evo magazine, man.
Evo magazine.
Yeah.
So Harry sold me the Elan, and I joined Paul. So
brilliant.
The rest is, well, history.
But jumping into a single-seater after a modified road car is a very, very different kettle of fish, isn't
Completely. It took me at least 2 years to learn how to drive this monster. And but now it's more or less we work together.
You're getting there, and it started out as a 1600 carburetted BDA car, Formula Atlantic.
That's
But
correct.
you're running it in Formula 2 type trim, aren't you?
Yes, yeah, and it's got a 2-litre now.
Right.
2-litre BDG.
That makes what, about 285 or something like that? Or?
Less, no, 240.
Oh, so it's
240.
detuned, so you've got torque,
not power.
Circuit kind of power.
Exactly.
No,
exactly.
no.
So yeah, but it's a lovely car.
They're fantastic. They don't weigh very much with the circuit. Without the circuit tanks and things, even
That's right.
better.
That's right.
And they just go wherever you point them, don't they?
It is a beautiful car. To
Yeah.
drive. Yes.
Could you see yourself switching to another Lotus, or would you be very loath to give this one up?
I would be loath to give this car up, but yeah, maybe, who knows, in a few years' time, then I might need to go back to a saloon car, but who knows? I mean, I'll keep driving this as long as I can.
Brilliant. Well, best time of the day yesterday. Congratulations on that. Have a great day today. The weather probably is going to be a bit warmer, a bit nicer. Maybe a double here at Prescott.
Well, let's hope so.
You might be wondering why we've got a phalanx of Clubman's Mallocks. Well, the person responsible for it is Peter Richings. Peter organises the activities of the Clubman's Club, which started exactly 60 years ago.
It did, 1965. A lot of Lotus 7s were racing in 1965,
Yes.
that era, and they were starting to embarrass owners of much more expensive cars, like Ferraris and GT40s.
Ah, quite right.
So Nick Syret of the BRSCC was one of the prime movers who thought, we better get these cars away from these, and created what was then called Clubman Sports Cars, and it's all grown from there over the last 60 years. So initially it was Lotus 7s predominantly, but Arthur Mallock soon realised that was a good place to expand his Mallock U2s that he was producing, and then other cars. And Derek Bennett, the first Chevron, was a Clubman's car.
Yes.
And, and a lot of well-known people raced Clubman's cars back then.
So it didn't clash with the 750 Motor Club?
No, the 750 Motor Club was really predominantly the Formula 750, which was
Yes,
a slower
Yeah,
category.
sure.
The Clubman started off with the 1500 Ford engine, and so it was more powerful and quicker, and became quite a stepping stone for prospective racers.
It did.
Derek Bell started racing in Clubman's, and he's still our president now. I mean,
Right.
Clubman's was huge in hill climbing
Yes, it
20,
was.
30 years ago. For whatever reason, it sort of dwindled away a little bit.
Yeah.
Cars have moved into Sports Libre class. But what we thought was we really wanted to try and reinvigorate that interest in Clubman's on the hills. So about a year ago we started planning this event today, and we've got 20 Clubman's cars all together, which is probably the most Clubman cars you've had together at a hill climb for 20
It must
years.
be, yeah.
So circuit racing with Clubman's is still very active. We've got an active championship. In fact, the leader of the championship at the moment is Steve Dickens, who's brought the car here today to do a demonstration run or two up the hill.
Right.
So it's still very active on the circuits, and we'd like to get it the same on the hills.
Well, I'm here in the paddock at Prescott Historique with Mike Luck, who has a unique Clubman's car, and it's one he built himself. Mike, you started out in special saloons, didn't you, with an Imp? But what got you first attracted to Clubman's?
Well, I progressed from special saloons into Clubman's in the 80s, we thoroughly enjoyed that. Did fairly well. Won the championship in '84, and got the passion for what were then prototype sports cars.
Yeah.
Predominantly frequented by the Mallocks, of course, of which I had one. And but then when I had the opportunity to come back into the Formula in the 90s, I started with the Phantom.
Right. Chris
Again,
Greville-Smith.
That's right.
From Coventry way.
Absolutely. Raced that until we had a pretty severe accident in Castle Combe, and took that home in a load of boxes and bits and pieces. The passion came, revisited me to build something myself. 98 we started it, 2000 we first raced it, and it took a little while to develop and get right, but we got it to the front.
And it's difficult, isn't it? Because you're working on your own. You're up against the weight of numbers with all the Maliks, all the development's been going on for decades with them.
Yes.
But you got there. And the engine in it is
1800K series.
Yes.
So a variation of the MGTF engine.
Yep.
Without the variable valve timing. So we should have north of 200 brake horsepower out of it.
Wow. And what does it weigh?
Not sure yet, but it's got it used to be 460 kilos. We have less cooling on board now than we did
For
have
the
when
hill
it
climb, you don't
circuit
need the
race.
radiators, etc.
So I'm
as much,
hoping getting on for 450.
Fantastic.
This is Richard Faulkner, and this is Chaparral 1, which is the most amazing acquisition, considering there were only 4 Chaparral 1s. Five sport the Sportori in the States. But one came to England for Phil Scragg, and Phil Scragg was a great hill climber. He was a silk merchant in Macclesfield, I think, and but he drove it a couple of times and hated it.
Yes, that's right. In fact, he even talked to Jim Hall, because Jim Hall of Chaparral was over in England at the time, driving for BRP in his Formula One career. And he said, "Oh, what can we do with this, Jim?" And Jim said, "Take the Herald rack off and put a Morris Minor rack on." But that didn't solve the problems. And he also complained about the engine. And he insisted that they sent him a brand new injected Corvette engine and have back the Art Early engine, and he still hated it, and he sold it to a chap I bought it from.
You got the bare chassis, just about.
I got the bare chassis, which had been converted to four-wheel drive.
Did it have suspension?
Yes, it had some, and a lot of rust. Time, a friend of mine, was the official scrap man to the Formula One teams. And I seem to have acquired a large amount of polyurethane from Walter Wolf Racing in exchange for a washing machine. So I knew someone at RCA Records in the United States, a place called Circleville, and he had some profiles for the body, and so I cut the profiles out of plywood and set these up in a cold, wet shed at Westbury near Marcos Cars, and set it up and then put the polyurethane foam in between the formers and then surformed it to shape.
Crikey.
And eventually we ended up with a body. It took about 10 years. I don't think we actually raced it until '89 with Roddy Harvey-Bailey, and it was proved to be competitive against Chevron B8s, if that's believable, in a race at Silverstone. And then I didn't really do much else with it until I was asked to produce it for the Goodwood Festival of Speed, one of their earliest meetings. And anyway, it's got a brand new aluminium body on now, which is rather lovely.
Looks lovely.
But we did find a considerable improvement with the engine's performance when I said, well, we ought to have a look at the engine, and we did check, because it was a bit sort of overheated a bit, and so we changed the head gaskets about 2 years ago for the first time in about 50 years, and that transformed it, as they say.
So we're here at the Prescott Historique, and a very unusual vista we have here over the entire top of the paddock, in the orchard, here in this sylvan setting. It's absolutely fantastic. Behind me there are Allards and Lotuses, and then down into the paddock proper you've got the Bugattis, which are of course always at home here at Prescott, as they have been since 1938 when the first event was run. The Historique is a very special event. It has something for absolutely everybody. Whether you're into single-seaters, whether you're into saloon cars, or sports races, there is absolutely something that's going to trip your trigger. And I really urge you to come in future years as this event grows.